Folks, you might think that it's 2022. You might think we're just on the verge of April. Good old April Fool's Day of 2022. But let me tell you, it's not 2022. It's apparently 2020, and Prizm is apparently Topps flagship. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Chris here, Mayce Collectibles. I have to pinch myself. I got to check my calendar. It sure feels like 2020 Topps all over again. For those of you not familiar, Topps has released some absolutely great sets over the years. They've got some really great looking cards, some really solid sets, some really sharp inserts. But in 2020, for those of you who were around just a couple of years ago, the release of Flagship brought an absolute shitstorm amongst the MMA community. And that would be because the QA, the quality assurance of those cards, was absolutely abysmal. Every card, nearly every single card that came out with Flagship was trash quality-wise. The only ones that didn't, some of the autos were okay. Most of the refractors were good, healthy stock, sharp corners, no silvering, anything like that. But the majority of the base cards of that set have absolutely terrible quality, terrible QA. I'd really invite anybody to show me a PSA 10 of a base card. I'm sure there's one out there, but I highly doubt it. But it's not what you would expect. Now, that was the last set that Topps released, right? So I kind of felt like they did us dirty. How are you going to go out and have the last set you release? They did do striking signatures after Flagship, technically. But the last set they released with Flagship was garbage, and it really puzzled me how you would want to leave your name, the last set you put out there under your name, looking like absolute hot garbage. It's not what you would expect from Panini. It's certainly not what you would expect from Panini Prizm, but in 2022, here we are. Now, 21 Prizm came out, absolutely gorgeous set if you ask me. Sure, it has its grading troubles with some centering and stuff like that, but that's going to be common with any set. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. And it also is the whole point of what makes a Gem Mint 10 or, you know, a perfect grade from Beckett, etc. so prized, is that it is hard to find that. So while I do excuse issues like poor centering, 2022 has really kind of gone off the deep end. This is your main set. This is the set that is Panini. The first set of the year, the first set of rookies, all the true rookies. This is the hottest set, right? It's not the most valuable set. We see sets that will come out that will definitely cost more, immaculate, if we ever get flawless, things like that. But for Prizm, you would not expect poor quality, but folks, that is not at all what we are experiencing. And I know I'm not the only one. I've kind of seen it out there. We did get the introduction of Hypers, which I like. That's poorly centered. As well as Cracked Ice, which I honestly really love. They've already had Cracked Ice for other sets. I really wish they would bring colors with Cracked Ice like they do other sports. Red and blue Cracked Ice looks so good. I collect those for a few of the other sports. But let's talk about some of the issues. Like your parallels, again, I don't have a problem with being off-centered. But when you're looking at shit like this, look at this card. Look at the centering of this card. Are you kidding me? Look at that. This is literally the worst centered card that was not a miscut that I've ever seen in my entire life of any set, hands down. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Again, we're not talking about Chronicles. We're not talking about Don Russ. We're talking about Prizm. And this, like, how the hell does that even happen? It's just completely unacceptable, and that's not nearly the first issue. A lot of folks are having issues with peeling and cracking. I've even seen people say fading already. Let me give you an example here. We've got this Jorge Masvidal purple Prizm to 149. Clearly the centering is off to the right on this card. You know, we can live with that. But let's take a closer look at it. Say I wanted to send this in to get graded. Watch what happens when I lean this forward. Are you shitting me? Now, I don't know how well the camera is picking this up, but to the naked eye, I mean, it's bad. It's bad. The bottom happens to be even worse. I feel like I can't get the camera to pick it up too strongly there. I don't know if it's a focus issue. But on the bottom, you can see, there you go. Look at that. There we go. Look at that. Right where my thumb's at. Look at that, all the way across. This is insane. I don't understand this. I don't understand how a company who specializes in sports, who clearly their whole business is dedicated to cards and the card community, and not only do they not consult with collectors, you don't ever hear them getting any input whatsoever from the card community on what we want to see card-wise, picture-wise, design-wise. Clearly, they didn't inquire with any of us on the designs. The design of 22 Prizm is garbage, if you ask me. Especially the horizontals are just, there's so much border. It's a grading nightmare. It just looks bad. There's so much bulk in the border. It's just not a good look whatsoever, and I do not understand it. I do not understand how the set that defines your company could be released looking like this. I mean, look at that. That's crazy. Look at this. Right here. All the way across. I mean, what are we talking about, folks? Now, I'm not going to make some long-ass video here ranting, but I do want to put it out there. I wanted to make a statement publicly because I think it's shameful. And I really wish that Panini, etc., et al. would really just get their shit together. You know, I understand that maybe they don't, you know, perhaps they don't collect cards. I don't know. I really just can't wrap my mind around how a company whose, you know, whole existence is cards could release something like this. Like, that's embarrassing. I would be absolutely embarrassed. Now, I know that they can't make perfect cards again. Cards being off-centered, like Rachmanov here, he's a little off-centered. I can live with that. You know, he's off to the left quite a bit. But you can live with stuff like that. But you know, this, like, what the hell are we talking about? That's just crazy to me. And I think it's bullshit, especially when you're charging $1,000 a box. I'm not rich, and I'm sure many of you aren't either. So when you put out $1,000 for some cardboard, you would expect at least that you would get some kind of quality control. And it just doesn't seem to be the case. But what is the case is they're interested in just rushing out as many sets as possible, like they do with other sports. And I sure hope they don't do that to us. It's not a good sign. We're only in year 2. You'd think that they'd want to be on their absolute best behavior, really put out a shining product and show that they deserve to represent the MMA community and UFC cards well. But I got to say, that's not what I've seen so far. Now, some of you might think that this is, I'm being a little over the top, a little too harsh on them, but you know, I just really don't think that's the case. I think it's unacceptable and something's got to change. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below. Maybe we need to put a, maybe we need to get a petition going so that Panini will respond or acknowledge us or something, because this isn't acceptable. And the problem too is that people are just going to keep buying, and as long as they're making money, you shouldn't really expect much to change. But if we want yet another lackluster design, poor QA, reusing the same inserts as the year before, i.e. fireworks, etc., let me know what you all think down below. Just wanted to make a quick video on this. I know I've been super frustrated with some of the cards I've seen, and I've certainly gotten plenty of messages from folks who are having the same issue. So Panini, get your shit together.